Hey guys, it's Timothy here. We finally have spoilers for Modern Masters 2017, something we've been waiting on for a pretty long time, and there's a lot of really exciting stuff. So, a couple things I want to say here. I'm recording this video pretty late on Monday morning. Monday night. Spoilers started this morning, and they've been rolling out kind of very slowly throughout the day. There's been a ton of really unexpected and really awesome things, but I'm going to focus on just looking at this from a limited perspective. Obviously, we don't have to read every single card since these are all reprints, but I'm going to be kind of speculating on what this limited format is going to look like based on what we have. I'm going to leave kind of the financial debate up to other people. I'm no expert in that field, so I don't really want to go spouting off about things that I really have no say in, but certain things excite me, and I may talk about them a little bit extra. But here, we're just going to jump in. I'm sure you guys have already seen these spoilers, or at least heard about them. It's kind of hard not to get the news, but if not, there's some pretty exciting stuff here. So the first thing we see here are looking at the guild gates. There is a full playset of all 10 guild gates in this set. They're all commons, and that to me is pretty typical of these sets. If you remember, Eternal Masters had the refuges or the gain lands, the ones that come in tapped and gain you a life. And Eternal Masters was more of a 2-color set. In fact, it was designed to be a 2-color set where most of your draft decks would just be typical 2 colors, maybe splashing a 3rd color for a single card or 2 cards. And I'll say more about what I think this set's going to end up looking like here when we see the full spoilers for the day, or at least up to what we know by the end of this day. So guild gates, they're kind of boring. I wish these were literally anything else, but I think they do have to do something to make these distinct from the other Modern Master set. And the previous Modern Masters already did Carouse, and the first Modern Masters did Vivid. So I don't know. Guild gates are just really boring as far as 2-color mana fixers go, but they are the type of cards that make a limited format a little bit more accessible. It makes playing multiple colors a little bit easier, and they're here and we'll take them. But they are commons. They're not going to take up a lot of your pack space, or at least a lot of what you want out of your pack. Moving on up. That's the last guild gate there. We have 2 angels here. We have Stoic Angel, which we knew we were going to get because it's on the packaging for Modern Masters 2017. Not a card you want to open because it's worth about a fat 50 cents, and you're paying $10 a pack here. But a decent limited card, I'm sure. I'm going to probably say this again, but it looks like blue-white in particular is focused on some sort of Blinken type shenanigans. You can see Restoration here on screen too, and that kind of supports it as well, and we'll see another card that kind of supports that. It's really weird to see Stoic Angel, and I mentioned this I think last week in one of my videos where, like, what kind of set are we looking at if we see Stoic Angel here? We're probably looking at a 3-color set, and we've already seen all the guild gates at common, right? So I don't know, maybe Stoic Angel is an indication that we are looking at a shard-based set or something like that, or maybe we're just looking at an altogether 3-color set. So I have no idea yet. There are a lot of things hinting towards us having 3-color sets, but Stoic Angel, it's probably a good card. I don't know whether or not to say that, like, it's a first pickable card until we see how easy it is to fall into a 3-color deck. It's obviously really strong, a 3/4 flyer for 4 with Vigilance and this kind of upside, possibly downside type ability, this kind of Winter Orb type effect on your opponent's creatures. It's a solid card all the way around, so I don't know. I don't know really what to expect out of this set yet, so I don't know what else to say about Stoic Angel other than it's kind of a disappointing card to see at rare here when you're paying $10 a pack. But Restoration Angel on the other side, while still not quite up there on like your value draft or anything like that, Resto's just a great creature. Always has been kind of a fan favorite when it comes to angels, right? And Restoration Angel is very, very strong too. I'm sure in a limited environment, Restoration Angel is a perfectly reasonable card to start your draft off with, and it does kind of support this whole Blinken theme when it comes to white, blue, or whatever we're going to see as far as the focus on colors goes. But Restoration Angel is a card I would probably always be happy to have in my decks if I know I'm playing white for a fact. We have Damnation, which is a huge reprint here, probably the first time it's ever been reprinted. I think there might be a Judge promo out there. I'm not entirely sure, so let me know if there is. But Damnation is huge. It's a sweeper, so for limited, it's fantastic because having access to a sweeper is just something I always want when it comes to limited. It can really shape the course of a game, being kind of a fail-safe button in case you start slipping behind, or being a reset button if your opponent's just way ahead of you. So cards like this are great. It's nice to finally see this get reprinted for the purposes of everybody who needs Damnation, because it's damn hard to get a hold of a Damnation. As it currently stands. Another thing to notice here, Damnation's printed at rare here. It is not a mythic rare, and it could have easily been a mythic rare if they were to keep up the trend with the last couple master sets where they make really desirable reprints mythics just for the sake of making them mythics, right? But Damnation is a rare here, which means you might actually get to draft this a couple times if you play this set. At least 2 or 3 times. So very exciting card here. Does kind of not really lend itself towards any 2 or 3 color strategy other than just being like a huge card that people want and a really exciting reprint. So I don't really know what else to say about Damnation. In Eternal Masters, I believe they had Wrath of God, and you always see these sorts of effects, but this is just a sweeper at its best, right? 4 mana sweeper. Unconditional destruction, can't be regenerated, so on and so forth. Just fantastic all the way around, and the type of card that you're never going to pass in a draft. You will always first pick Damnation. Although, I don't know, there are foils in every pack, so we'll see how it goes. First pick Damnation? I don't know. We have a half cycle here, so we have 5 cards focused on the shard colors, and we have the tricolor lands for each of those. So Seaside Citadel being Bant, the Esper land, Arcane Sanctum, Naya, Jungle Shrine, and then we have Grixis with Crumbling Necropolis, and then the last one is Savage Lands for Jund. So just think about what we have here, and I might as well mention it at the same time because obviously, like, the gig is up. Everybody knows this already, but we have Zendikar Fetches, which is huge as far as reprints go. But again, that's not my point here. Is to talk about money and modern and so on and so forth. It's talk about limited, and fetches are just the type of card that people are always going to pick them for the money, so it's kind of hard to talk about them. Fetches are just fine in limited. There's nothing wrong with them. It's not like they're slam dunk bomb cards. It's not like if I were playing at some high stakes $10,000 tournament that I would always even first pick a fetch land. They're just good cards. They help you fix your mana very easily. They don't seem to be comboing with anything here. It's not like the Guild Gates or dual lands or anything like that. They're just decent cards that happen to be able to replace a basic in your deck or something like that. But look at what we have here. We have an entire set of common dual lands, so to speak. We have a full half cycle of tri-lands, and we have a full half cycle of fetch lands. There's no reason to assume we're getting the other half of the fetch lands, and I would bet money that we're not. There's no reason to put it in there. But this is just like Khans of Tarkir. Khans of Tarkir had 5 fetch lands, 5 dual lands, or I'm sorry, 5 tri-lands at uncommon, and a entire set of dual lands, the game lands, so to speak. Not quite as bad as Guild Gates, but you get the idea, right? The same exact mana fixin that we saw in Khans of Tarkir is what we're seeing right here, and that leads me to believe that this is probably a 3-color set. You can tell with cards like Stoic Angel and just the land fixin being almost identical to what it is in Khans of Tarkir, that we're probably in for a 3-color set here, which is exciting. I think this is a new take because if you look at Modern Masters 1 and 2 and Eternal Masters, they always kind of paired it up as color pairs. They had these 10 different themes going on that were based on the color pairs, and if we see a 3-color set instead of a 2-color set, we could be we could be treated to something really sweet when it comes to the limited format here. Now, it may be a focus on just shard colors. We do see Stoic Angel is a Bant-colored card, and we have a Bant-colored land, so maybe we're to expect a shard-based limited format as opposed to like the wedge-based limited format that we saw in Khans of Tarkir. So pretty exciting stuff there. There's not enough evidence to just kind of like pin the nail there and say that's what it is, but there is enough to say that that's probably a pretty good incentive for them to print the lands that they've printed here. And obviously, fetches are huge. I would love to get my hands on them. I've always refused to buy them because of their prohibitive prices, and I'm glad to see them here. I'm glad to see Wizards finally just saying, you know what, reprint those bastards because we need them in the we need them in players' hands, and this is how you get them in players' hands, right? We need these cards out there. They need to be reprinted, and here they are. Very unexpected. I would not have guessed that they would have put them in this product, but there you go. And they're the heart of Modern, right? When you think of Modern, or when you ask me what I think of Modern, the first thing that comes to mind is shock lands and fetch lands, and neither of the Modern Master sets have had either of those, so them putting this here is them saying, you know what, Modern, this is what it is, here you go. And then they went and printed Stoic Angel and messed that all up. But anyway, we have Goblin Guide, which is really sweet because Goblin Guide is just absurdly pricey when it comes to Modern. You know, we're talking like a $40 card for possibly the best aggressive creature of all time when it comes to burn decks, right? Goblin Guide is just what it is. It's the best card at doing what it does. And what it does is attack for a noticeable amount of damage on the very first turn of the game. It has a real downside, and what I would like to ask you guys is, if you've watched my videos, you know probably that I started playing around Theros, so I never played in Zendikar, and I know Zendikar was a very fast, really quick-paced, nail-biter type format, and I was curious if you guys could tell me how Goblin Guide performed in that type of set, because it's the type of card that seems like it would fall off pretty easily and has a real downside in Limited, but if you're looking to just jam in damage, it seems like it's actually really good. And I know from my minor experience with watching videos and playing Cube on Magic Online, MTGO, that Goblin Guide is like the reason, or one of the biggest reasons, to go into a mono red deck, and it's possibly one of the strongest cards in that deck. Not to mention, it's just like the pinnacle of burn decks. It is the creature you want on turn one. It's the turn one play you want to get down and start slamming with. So whether that lends itself to us having a really aggressive like Goblin deck or red deck in Limited, I have no idea. It's kind of weird, and I'll say this with Goblin Assault here as well. It's kind of weird to see like all of this mana fix-in and Stoic Angel and so on and so forth, and then see like Goblin Guide, which really lends itself to like mono red strategies. So I don't know, maybe like we're going to see Naya burn or something like that. Maybe that's the type of direction that Naya's heading here if we're going shard colors, which would be really cool. We might see things like Wild Nikado be reprinted, or well, that wouldn't make sense without shocks, but we might see things like Lightning Helix, and I don't know, maybe even a Tarkus. Well, no, it doesn't reach a Tarkus command, but you know what I'm getting at, right? Just the Naya burn based strategies or something like that. But moving on, Goblin Assault. This is a card I've never seen before. It's 2 and a red for an uncommon enchantment, and you get a Goblin, a 1/1 Goblin with haste on your upkeep, but all Goblin creatures have to attack each turn if they're able to. Never seen this card before. Don't know if it was like a big contender at some point, or if it's just pointing us towards like this Goblin tribal theme in Limited. But these two alone lead us to believe that, you know, maybe there is like a Goblin deck here, and Goblins still get played in Modern to the best of my knowledge, but they're not like a huge contender or anything. They just got Pile Driver, which was pretty nice back in Origins, but I don't see Goblin decks come up very often. If Goblins are a thing in Limited here, we might see Goblin Bushwhacker be reprinted, which is a fine Limited card. Hopefully, I don't know what rarity it was at before, but hopefully not a rare, right? We might see Rabble Master, which, again, not a card you really want to open as your rare when it comes to a $10 pack, but a heck of a card when it comes to Limited. Might see Pile Driver again or something like that. It's a little too early to say that there's going to be a Goblin deck, but that's kind of what this leans towards, right? Not to mention, is this just like a good sideboard card against Goblins? It does force your opponent's creatures to all attack each turn if they're Goblins, so I have no idea. We'll have to wait on that before I'm calling the Goblins like an actual Limited strategy here. Moving on, we got just a couple more. Vanish into Memory. This is a card I've seen before, but I've never seen it cast, and I'm not sure like why it's here. I don't know if this was relevant at some point, or if there's some deck out there that plays this. But for those of you who might not know, Vanish into Memory. It's 2 white and a blue for an instant. This is uncommon, which is okay. You exile a creature, can be yours, can be your opponent's, whatever, and you draw cards equal to its power, and then on the next end step, that creature comes back, and you discard cards equal to its toughness. So we've got that blink theme going on here again, like I mentioned. This time you can blink your opponent's creatures, which is pretty cool, and you can blink your own, but you want to get value off this card by blinking like a high power, low toughness creature, and it leads to this kind of weird like Luden type ability. I have no idea how good this card is. I'm leaning on the side of it being like just a little bit too fancy to be like a really good card, but I don't know. Prove me wrong. Is this card played somewhere that I don't know about? Because this seems like a really weird inclusion to put on the same list of cards that we've seen here. Maybe it's just hinting at the strategy, right? If blue, white, or Bant is here, then maybe blinking is like the strategy that they're focused on or something like that. I don't know. This card here, foreign language, it is Terminate. For those of you who may not be aware somehow, Terminate is destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. It's an instant, costs black and red. And it's uncommon here, which is nice. It's also just a fantastic card. I know for modern purposes, like Fatal Push may be on the uprise, putting Terminate maybe on the downswing a little bit, but for limited purposes, Terminate is fantastic. Like, this is the type of card that if I open a really kind of wonky rare like Stoic Angel or something that I'm not too excited to play, I may just default to an uncommon and take something like Terminate. And the mana fixin's here, right? You can play this pretty easily. I remember there were cards with this kind of mana cost in Khans of Tarkir, and those were very castable on turn 2 with a couple mana fixers in your deck. So you could be like, I don't know, a red-green deck, splash and black, and probably have Terminate up as early as need be. But yeah, Terminate's just a fantastic card. The type of card you also want to say, or also want to see in the uncommon slot, because when it comes to making your money back, and I know I said I wouldn't mention it too much, but it is worth mentioning here, the uncommon slot is huge because it's a way to kind of recuperate your losses on like bulk rares and stuff like that. You're paying a lot per pack when it comes to sets like this, so having these quality uncommons is pretty nice, and putting new art on it's pretty sweet too. This is pretty cool. I think I just said pretty a lot. I don't know. Go back and check. 2 more here. We knew we were going to get Domery Raid because Domery Raid was, again, on the packaging along with Stoic Angel, and it's just a fine limited card. Note that this is the only mythic that was spoiled up to this point, so we saw a lot of really bomb reprint rares as far as reprinting goes, and we still have a lot of mythic slots open. Domery Raid, again, not your price tag filler, not your like slam dunk first pick when it comes to making your value back, but a really strong card in limited, very splashable when it comes to a set like this, and just really, really strong. For those of you who don't know, this was from Gatecrash. I believe it's Gatecrash, and the +1 lets you look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature, you can reveal it and put it in your hand. So pseudo card draw, assuming you're revealing a creature there. The -2 lets you choose a creature you control and a creature you don't control and fight. Or I'm sorry, you can actually just fight 2 creatures as long as you control the first one. And the -7 is some stupid emblem where your creatures all have double strike, trample, hexproof, and haste, right? -7, I win the game in my creature deck. But just a value planeswalker as far as it goes has kind of this removal ability if you're playing big creatures, and has this somewhat card advantage ability if you get lucky enough to hit with it pretty often. But the type of planeswalker that I'd be pretty happy to open first pick. Something to mention about Domery Raid in particular is they don't print a lot of planeswalkers in these sort of sets. If I remember correctly, the first Modern Masters had, I want to say, Elspeth, Knight Errant, and Sarkin Vol, or one of the Sarkins, and I think that's it. And then the second Modern Masters had, what was it? It was Tezzeret, the Seeker, and some other, Karn Liberated, right? And then I believe that's it for that as well. And even Eternal Masters, I remember, had Dak Faden and Jace the Mind Sculptor. Not sure if it had any other off the top of my head, but they're not a lot of Planeswalker slots. And a lot of people are speculating that Liliana Liliana of the Veil will be in the set. I would put money on Liliana of the Veil being in the set. But if so, like, Domery Raid and Liliana might be our only Planeswalkers in the set. Not to mention, we already know Grizzlebrand's in this set too, and it's very likely a mythic rare. I don't see Grizzlebrand being anything other than a mythic, and it'd be kind of weird for 2 of your mythic rares to be these, like, bomb black cards. But we have no idea. If this is a multicolor set, maybe there's I don't know, a distribution of mythics there or something like that. But we'll have to wait and see on Liliana. But Domery Raid is definitely one of our Planeswalker slots, and confirmed right here. And then the last card that was spoiled not very long ago is Primal Command. One of those modal command spells. They do like to put these in these sets, and they're usually pretty good. It's a rare, not the type of rare that I open and I'm just like super ecstatic that I have it or anything, but a very versatile card, and I have to imagine for limited purposes it's pretty strong. It can gain you 7 life, it can put a non-creature permanent on top of your owner's library, which can be very detrimental to your opponent. You can shuffle a graveyard back into the library. That's probably the mode that doesn't matter too much. And then you can also search for a creature and put it in your hand, which is pretty sweet. So, like, a lot of times from the decks I've seen this in, it goes gain 7 life, search for my win con or something like that. I don't see Primal Command come up very often in games anymore. It's just very clunky, but for limited purposes, this is an all-around good card. And not a bomb rare by any means. This isn't as good as like Profane Command when it comes to limited, but it is very, very strong nonetheless. It has a lot of different contexts that you can use it in, and just being a modal spell with that many modes makes it pretty flexible and pretty versatile when it comes to using it in limited. So that's what we've got for today. I guess I could refresh the page real quick and just make sure we don't have any surprise spoilers that we need to know about. Nope. So lots of really awesome reprints is a plus here. Lots of Mana Fixin'. I love Mana Fixin'. It persuades me to play 3-color decks. If Cons was one of my favorite draft blocks because it was so easy to play like these 4 or 5 color decks. So I'm really excited by this, and just fantastic reprints on top of good cards is great. As with Eternal Masters and all the other sets like this before, they usually go out on a pretty big like boom at the beginning and show you all these great cards for a couple days. So I would expect to see some really awesome spoilers for the next couple days, and then expect to see like a reasonable amount of bulk here. You can't make every card a slam dunk. You really can't. But I don't know. We'll wait and see what we've got there. But anyway, I'm excited to hear what you guys think of this set. I think it's shaping up to be pretty interesting. I'm going to reserve my feelings about it until I see more of it. And on that note, I will also let you guys know that when the full spoiler comes out and we have every card in the set, I will be making my draft review videos to hopefully give you guys an edge, because this is the type of format where you want to go in guns a-blazing and do as good as possible, because not only are you paying a lot to draft this set if you are planning on drafting it, but you also want to win packs too, right? The more packs you win, the better, the more chances you have of opening up these cool reprints and stuff like that from your prize packs. And just getting that little bit of edge and a little bit of experience ahead of time seems great. So we'll see what the format looks like, and I'll be making those videos as more comes out. With that being said, my name's Timothy. I appreciate y'all taking the time out of your day to watch this video with me. And yeah, I'll see y'all when we see more spoilers. Thanks for watching.